Good afternoon. Yes, I'm back. Or as Arnold would say, I'm back. No, that wasn't a good one. I'll be back. And it is, good afternoon. It is Tuesday, the 4th of August, 2020. I've got to hide that light bulb. Maybe I should turn the light bulb off. Nah, it's nice. Gives me that sort of old saintly look, I think. I've got to be brief today, as brief as is possible. But I'm enjoying a coffee. I'm enjoying a nice coconut cappuccino from Station Cafe right here in Little Port. One of my favorite places here. Anyway, I know it's a shameless plug. What can I tell you? So this is the first one I've been able to do since, a week and a half ago. And I'll get to some other bits and bobs at the end. But the first thing I want to mention is that here we are. It's August. Hey, everybody enjoying themselves yet? No, we don't get a reprieve from last month. A couple of little bits. July was intense for a lot of different reasons. June was intense. May was intense, April was intense, there was a lot of intensity, but, the thing about intensity is that when we don't have it, we get bored. When we do have too much of it, we feel stressed and anxiety-ridden and over the top and overwhelmed. So one of the things to keep in mind is that you signed on for this on some level. You signed on. So the intensity is due to a lot of different factors, and astro events is just one thing. It came to me the other day, and this is just my feeling, my impressions from Saturday on, because Saturday is August 1st, and as I mentioned in a blurb earlier to promote or let people know about this, we had four major events happening all within the first 3 days of the month. Mercury opposed Pluto and Saturn, Sun squared Uranus, Mars squared Jupiter, and we had the full moon in Aquarius. All in 3 days. Can't get more intense than that. Oh, yes, we can. August is the gift that just keeps on giving. There'll be little respites here and there, but we've got activity happening on the 10th, the 11th, the 15th, the 18th. The last half of August is fluid, let's put it that way. On the 29th, we've got a major thing. On the 30th, we have a major thing. It's not like we can't get through this. We can get through this. And more than that, we are going to benefit from it. So anything that feels intense or overwhelming, on some level, you get benefit from. The discernment factor is, what is it you're getting benefit from, and where are you just spinning your wheels? There's a lot happening with Uranus stationing on the 15th of August, dead in the center of the month. And Uranus is stationing to go backwards, and will go backwards until January. So this is going to actually, most planets, when they go backwards, things feel like going more inwards. We have to go and reflect. With Mercury retrograde, think about our thoughts and our actions over the previous period of time. With Uranus, it actually goes the other way. Things get more intense. Things actually start getting a little bit more chaotic and erratic and unpredictable. Uranus being unpredictable, so as it is. So that's just one factor. Mars in Aries is another, because it's slowing down. It's in its shadow period, getting ready to turn retrograde as well. And Mars in Aries retrograde is going to be kind of the energy of the frustrated warrior, not being able to do what it normally likes to do, feeling restricted, feeling somehow caged. So there'll be this tiger pacing back and forth in the cage, waiting to get out. I'm a little unclear as to when the retrograde period ends, but we're in the shadow right now. It starts around the middle of the month. And we've got I'm going to have calmer energy just after that, but then it picks up again. So these astro events are just markers. Here's one of the things that came to me as far as other energies: psychological, psychic, emotional, physical, where it's hitting us in our body. There's a lot of the divine feminine stuff up. There's a lot of the cosmic influences, as we should say, coming in from deep space, from the galactic core. The sunspot cycle seems to be waning. The low or super low minimum seems to be waning, and we're about to enter sunspot cycle 23, which will kick things up again, a solar maximum. And that solar maximum will peak between 2022 and 2024. So we're starting the uphill run. It's like the roller coaster heading up the first hill. And solar maximum cycles are always accompanied, usually anyway, always accompanied by coronal mass ejections, disruptions in the satellite environment, et cetera, et cetera. Now, information is really sketchy. I warned you all about this in May and June. The interpretation of information and the nature of information. Neptune retrograde in Pisces. It's going to be more and more challenging to be able to pick apart and discern what is of value, what information is of value, what information rings true. Don't accept things at face value at a visceral level, always. This is a time in which you have to test things. You have to use a bit of logic and discernment and cognitive reasoning to be able to sort out the wheat from the chaff. Because as I experienced on Saturday when I posted something, sort of an analysis of a lot of different aspects of what's going on right now, written by a guy who works for Films for Action, which is a very activist-oriented consortium of artists and movie makers and so forth. This author, well, it wasn't a greatly written article, but he had some points to make, and they were good ones, and he had some bad points as well in that article. But nonetheless, not being an expert blogger or whatever, he addressed something I had been feeling for weeks, and I'm glad it got addressed. Unfortunately, it created a lot of blowback, both to myself and to people commenting to each other on the thread. So I pulled the post down yesterday, but so you can't go and look at it on my Facebook newsfeed. But here's the thing: because of the nature of the astro events, because of the nature of the energetic changes going on, and the third item, which we'll get to in a moment, as far as influences, it is going to send people over the edge. People are going to overreact to what is presented, what is said. What your position is. Opinions mean even less now than they did, because a lot of our opinions or a lot of our formed ideas are being manipulated through social media platforms. They're being manipulated by media, but more than that, we're all susceptible to the influence of the global or collective consciousness. Thank you, Carl Jung. So we are not immune to those things. We are not immune to the influences of things we cannot see, nor taste, nor touch, nor feel. A lot of people who are empathic or highly sensitive persons, HSPs, do feel these things, but they can't necessarily put a label or an explanation onto their vicarious things. You just go like, well, I'm feeling crap today, but I have nothing to feel crap about, so why do I feel crap? Things like that. Self-care is going to be the number one thing. The number two thing is don't accept anything at face value information-wise, or what somebody tells you is the truth. Don't accept it at face value. Always question, always dig a little deeper. That doesn't mean don't trust your gut. Yeah, trust your gut and then look for the corroborating evidence. Cognitive bias or confirmation bias is rife these days. Confirmation bias meaning if you are starting to look for something, you will see more and more and more of the same thing. Yeah, I don't know about you, but my Facebook timeline is just getting more and more and more of the same thing over and over again, with little nuggets of things that are different, but very few. Proving once again that the social media wizards who write the algorithms are constantly giving you exactly the reflections back of the things that you engage with. So that's true in the natural world, the organic world as well, in terms of your beliefs, your perceptions, but it's amplified thousands of times on social media. So the echo chamber effect is the thing that nobody sees when you're busy engaging on social media, but it's there. It's always there. So you always get people who agree with you very strongly, and you get people who strongly disagree with you. You don't get any gray area. You don't get any room for debate. It's either react or act. For that reason, if you don't think Facebook is not dangerous, then I appreciate and respect your opinion, but it is becoming a overwrought influence everywhere, especially in America right now with an election coming up. Article written by Carol Cadwalader on The Guardian on July 28th, who broke the story about Cambridge Analytica scandal and the Brexit influence on the Brexit vote, the influence in the Trump election in 2016, and sounded a big warning, shot a big gun across everybody's bows and said, if you think America cannot be manipulated with, and never mind the Russians, American elections, then think again. You know, either Trump will either win or lose based on what happens regarding Facebook and social media. That said, social media sometimes unintentionally spills the beans. You know, here's a good example. Elon Musk, yes, Tesla, got caught out not too long ago, July 27th, I think it was. He made a tweet about, he thought it was a bad idea for Americans to get a second stimulus package. And somebody tweeted back, he says, you know, what's really a bad idea is for the American government to support the removal of Evo Morales, the elected president of Bolivia, just so that Elon could get his hands on the lithium down there for his batteries, for his cars and so forth. And he shot back, we will coup everyone and anyone we want to. Deal with it. And that got retweeted thousands of times before Elon could pull it down off Twitter. And so that platform, should we say it, is sort of a flashpoint of what I'm trying to describe August to be. Uranus unexpected, Mercury transiting through and making aspects of this stuff, thoughts, comments, you know, one-shot, one-liners showing up and just driving everybody crazy. It's going to be interesting, and it already is. We haven't been disappointed yet, and only 4 days in. So Elon's in deep doo-doo. He basically tipped his hand and tipped the government's hand and basically said that the removal or the forcing of Evo Morales into exile in Mexico and then Argentina was completely and totally trumped up in order to get American industry to get their hands on that lithium. Yeah, loads of it. Up in the high Andes lakes. They'll drain the lakes, they'll pull out the lithium. And guess what? That'll fuel iPhone 12 or something like that. So here's the thing. We have a lot on our plate, and there is a strategy. And the third thing, before I get to the strategy, is to mention the third thing that just came to me intuitively the other day. With all of the technological electromagnetic pollution in the atmosphere and in the upper atmosphere and in the stratosphere and in the ionosphere, I had this distinct feeling of pressure on my thoughts, on my feelings, that wasn't coming from me, that wasn't coming from the great beyond, i.e. the divine, that wasn't coming from my local devices, that wasn't coming from any localized source, but it felt like being bombarded with little bits of kind of mind virus things, you know, mind parasite thing. I mean, like niggly little thoughts or feelings or irritations that, you know, can just set you off or make you feel bad or whatever. I think everybody talks about the HARP thing, or used to talk about HARP, how weather manipulation, geoengineering was going on as far as HARP, being able to manipulate the ionosphere. What if this stuff is being used to actually manipulate people's minds and emotions? It's been speculated, it's been talked about. It was even part of an FBI, a Senate investigation into the FBI back in the 1970s. And the use of electromagnetic weaponry on us or on anything, I can't just say human beings, I could say anything, might actually be affecting a lot of the moods of people, the anxiety, the out of control, insane fear. One of the things that I keep coming back to over and over again, especially poignant came Saturday morning when my partner found a wounded bird in the back garden. The cats hadn't got a hold of it, but it was missing a wing. It was a baby bird, didn't even have its eyes open. I cried buckets later on about that, because you get in touch with mortality, your mortality, the mortality of things, the way nature works, and it brings you back into reality about a lot of things. You know, it's not morbid to think about death or to reflect on it. But when it comes in the form that it's coming in, where it's creating a fear of death, or a fear of not being healthy, or a fear of what's going to happen next, then that isn't helpful. I don't care if it's coming from a channeler, I don't care if it's coming from a government bureaucrat, or if it's coming from the media. Anything that is trying to play on fear, just the raw emotion, the raw primal emotion of fear, boom, take a strong look at it and say, no, no thank you. You know, I don't live there. My divinity doesn't live there. My heart doesn't live there. So what is the strategy? The strategy to me is lay low this month, okay? Don't try to overcommit yourself on anything and with anybody, okay? Yes, there's all this stuff coming up about pedo rings and Epstein and his island, and how there used to be a conspiracy theory, the existence of that. Yes, there are photographs, many photographs of Trump with Epstein, Bill Gates, Bill Clinton. You know, I mean, the list is probably in the hundreds, and the blackmail, certainly Prince Andrew, the blackmail must be absolutely amazing, how they blackmailed all these powerful rich people. And that's probably where most of Jeffrey's millions came from, to be honest, not from being a savvy on Wall Street. I think that was seed money. So who knows what's going to come out this week or next week or the week after regarding Ghislaine Maxwell and all that. I'm not going to speculate. I'm not going to spend any time on that. What it means is this month, and I'm going to repeat this right now because my good friend Armand Diaz, who has Integral Astrology out of New York, and you can look up Integral Astrology, by all means, I highly recommend getting a reading from him. I, as an astrologer, even have had readings with him. He quoted the I-Ching, Hexagram 36. The light has sunk into the earth, the image of darkening of the light. Thus do superior people live with the great masses. Now, superior doesn't mean I'm better than everybody else. Superior means those who have taken the high road, those who are looking beyond the appearances of things and the duality of things. They veil their light, yet still they shine. So this is a time during this month to pull in and not shield yourself, but to be mindful of protecting your space. Very, very mindful. Thus do superior people live with the great masses. They veil their light, yet they shine. In a time of darkness, it is essential to be cautious and reserved. One should not needlessly awaken overwhelming enmity, meaning anger or reaction, by inconsiderate behavior. In such times, one ought not to fall in with the practices of others. Neither should one drag them censoriously into the light. Don't try to change people's minds. Don't try to awaken them. Don't try to shake them out of their hypnosis, all right? That's what this hexagram is saying. In social intercourse, one should try not to be all-knowing. I've been guilty at times. And I wish I had read all this before I did that post on Saturday. One should let many things pass without being duped. What did I just get done saying? Be extra mindful, extra discerning, extra inquisitive. Don't accept anything at face value. Let many things pass, but don't be duped. So this is from the Wilhelm Baines translation of the I-Ching. So the cosmic weather is blowing hard through the first half of the month. It settles down for a little bit, and then towards the end of the month, it gets a little easier. But one of the things that I want to bring in mind that is the basis or the sort of signature of the month, not just Uranus turning retrograde on the 15th, but Mars squaring Pluto on the 13th. So that's only 9 days away. Mars will be at the 23rd degree of Aries. Pluto will be at the 23rd degree of Capricorn. Saturn's close by at 26. Jupiter's close by at 18. And so what we have there is the setup for some kind of explosive revelation, some kind of explosive disintegration, some kind of explosive something. I don't know what, but Mars in Aries is definitely going to provoke the powers that be and those that are trying to change the world system. Okay? It could be a push-pull game, because we get two more aspects of Mars to Pluto, Saturn, Jupiter before the end of the year. But this is the first pass. So this is the revealing. This is the can opener. This is the, oh my God, what the hell happened moment. All right? So pay attention between the 11th and the 15th. So right after this happens, after the Mars-Pluto square occurs, then you get Uranus stationing to go backwards for 5.5 months. That's going to be on the 15th. And the other one that is important to recognize is that at the end of the month, Pluto will be back at the same degree as it was on January 12th, 2020, which kicked off this whole thing when it was conjunct Saturn at that degree of 22 degrees Capricorn, 46 minutes. It will be conjunct with Saturn still. Okay, so let's go to right to the end of the month. Excuse me, I didn't set that chart up, but I'm going to animate this. I love my way back machine and my way forward machine, my time machine. This solar fire program can give me. So on the 29th of August, we have Pluto at 2246, conjunct Saturn at 26 degrees, and the moon. So we get the natal moon conjunct Pluto and Saturn, all at the similar degree as what happened, that revealing that happened, the trigger point that happened on January 12th this year. That could be quite amazing. I don't know quite how to describe that, but on that day, also Mars at 27 degrees Aries is going to be squaring the Saturn and the moon. So anything can happen. So look at the 13th, 15th, and the 29th as being seminal days to prepare. And you have to fortify yourself inside. You have to fortify your connection, your grounding to your body, to the earth, to the divine within yourself and the divine out there. But it's like as within, so without. So what's the difference? Try, if irritated or pushed, not to react. If something comes across your awareness in the media that galvanizes you, that angers you, that gets you wound up, and oh God, those son of a guns, watch what it does to yourself. Watch how those hormones and enzymes are going to change in your body and lower your immunity for one thing, but also lower where your vibe is, all right? So this month is like, mind your vibe. If you really want to simplify things, mind your damn vibe and don't worry about the other guy's vibe. Because if you mind your vibe, it's like sending an alternate signal out to everything. A different radio broadcast is happening on the subtle levels that says it's going to all come out in the wash, somehow, some way, it's all going to come out in the wash. Right now, your activism is to stay in the middle of the hurricane, the eye of the hurricane, and don't go left, right, front, or back. Stay planted right where you are and hold your peace as much as you can. There's already enough conflict. There's already enough finger pointing. There's already enough anger. There's already enough angst going on. Not all that glitters is gold, and not all that is foul feels fair. I'm quoting Lord of the Rings in case you're wondering. But I will also say this, I'll remind you again, do not engage with anything that is not in alignment with your soul and with your heart, because what you engage with, you make part of you, okay? Now, to a little announcement. I am going on a sabbatical, and so starting today, actually, after this broadcast, I won't be doing my Go Live, my coffee break updates until the first Tuesday in September, I believe. I'm going to be regrouping and reconstructing things. Yeah, it'll be Tuesday the 1st of September, so September 1, to be a matter of fact. And I will still be posting here and there, but I'm going to change the whole range of how I'm doing that. So I will post less and less personal things on my personal profile timeline. I'm going to create a page. It's either going to be a community or a service page, something that represents sort of my professional side better. I got rid of my public page 3 months ago because it just wasn't worth it. And what is going to happen is that there will be feeds or posts on both of those pages, but predominantly about where else I'm working. Whether it's my YouTube channel or on BitChute or one of the other video media platforms, or MeWe, which is, there's a number of Velo and a couple of other platforms that are fast gaining some ground as far as popularity versus Facebook. My high idea is to keep you informed, keep you linked, as it were, with where you can find me. And I'll be doing more and more of these videos on YouTube, on the channel, and then posting the links into the Facebook feeds, whether it's the profile page or the community page. So that you can join this community. So basically it's going to be an open community kind of thing. And that way, I would like to ask you to start thinking of alternatives to Facebook, alternatives to Twitter if you're on there, or even Instagram. And I'd appreciate your continued engagement and future patronage, if you will, in terms of the work that I'm going to be offering and changing to. So if that resonates with you, I look forward to seeing you in other locations besides just this one. The main thing about doing them on YouTube is I can use Zoom, I can create more multimedia events, broadcasts if you will, including screen shares and video clips and interviews. So it becomes like a de facto radio channel. Now I'm probably going to relaunch my good old Blog Talk Radio program this fall, October or November. I'll keep you posted on that event, because that way is going to be really a live 2-hour program with interviews, with information, with guests and so forth. That is going to be, where I want to head directly to direct radio broadcasting and presentations. So that's it from me today, and until the 1st of September. I am open for business after, the actual sabbatical thing ends in late August, and that will be the Tuesday the 25th. I'll be back in action. So if you want to book a mentoring program, or want to get a one-off astrological reading or a series of them, by all means, contact me or go to the website isaacgeorge.com after the 24th of August, and I will look forward to being in service for whatever your needs are at that time. And I look forward to enjoying a very quiet and wonderful time out in the woods of a county not too far from here. I'm not going to reveal the location. And just some time in nature, and by the sea, and read, reflect, meditate, and enjoy myself, and enjoy the company of my partner, and come back and do some gardening or whatever. But basically, lay low, as the hexagram says. Be wise and let my light shine without drawing attention. So I recommend the same. And I look forward to seeing you all back here on September 1. And in the meantime, I tell you, just as I always say, blessings on your journey. Look after yourself, look after each other, and focus predominantly on the vision of what your idea of heaven on earth looks like, and make it so. Adios for now. Love you all.